Welcome, everyone, to A Call for Judgment. Over the years, I've warned about how they were going to start prepping people for the mark, for taking technology inside of their bodies, for allowing outside sources to have control over their brains. People think that that's like an insane conspiracy thing. Like, oh my goodness, they could have control over our brains. You believe these tinfoil hat wearers? Meanwhile, I also warned about how they were going to convince people into this type of tech. They were going to use health. They were going to use stories like this: paralyzed people, paralyzed man, connecting his brain to Bluetooth, okay? Where they actually tell you in the specific story how they are actually able to access his brain and give instructions to his brain, so his brain talks to his spine, and suddenly a man who hasn't been able to walk can suddenly walk. Everyone hears the story, they say what a miracle it is, how we need technology like this, and they don't even read between the lines about how technology like this actually allows an outside source to send radio waves to the brain and control the brain, control the movements of the body. It's frightening, and people out there literally, they're telling you what they have the capability to do, but all they do is they see this and they go, isn't this wonderful that this paralyzed guy can walk? Yeah, it's great the paralyzed guy can walk, okay? But guess what? Okay, guess what? This type of technology is not good. And they're normalizing it through stories like this to get people on board to even have this type of technology in their body without even being paralyzed, because they'll say, wow, you know, I have a sore hip, but you know what? With this type of technology, I won't be sore anymore. And they'll continue on and on and on, where then they say, it'll make you faster. It'll make you stronger. It'll make you have more energy. And it's just normalized. But they start here. Take a look at this story about a paralyzed man and the technology inside of his body, including the Bluetooth.
So there it's picking up well.
For more than a decade, Gert-Jan Oskam has been trying to relearn to walk. A motorbike accident in his late 20s left him paralyzed from the hips down, changing his life forever. But now, Oskam is back on his feet, thanks to groundbreaking digital implants in his brain and his spine.
After 2 days, within 5 to 10 minutes, I could control my hips.
It works like this. When Oskam thinks about taking a step, a brain implant picks up the signals and sends them to a computer strapped to his back. The computer decodes it, then transmits the signal to a device in his spinal cord, triggering his legs to move. Scientists say it's like a digital bridge that bypasses the damaged part of his spine.
The patient has first to learn how to work with his brain signals, and we also have to learn how to correlate this brain signal to the spinal cord stimulation.
Scientists were shocked to find it may have helped close the gap in his nervous system.
I'm here.
In less than a year, Oskam gained the ability to walk with crutches even when the device is turned off. Life-changing abilities he didn't have after a previous experimental implant, which only let him take a few clunky steps.
I am in full control of what the stimulation does. And that gives me a lot of freedom, which I didn't have with previous therapy.
Researchers say it's an incredible step forward from older technologies that could detect brain signals or stimulate muscle movement, but not both.
Putting all those components together in a human with spinal cord injury and having them talk in quasi real time, it's a breakthrough, really.
It's not a cure. Oskam can still only walk several hundred feet a day and stand without help for a few minutes. But for the first time since his accident 12 years ago, Oskam can do things most of us take for granted, like get out of a car or stand at a local pub.
It was a long journey, but at the end, I can really build functional things from it.
A long journey now giving hope to other patients still striving to take that first step. So far, Oskam is the only person to experiment with this digital bridge. But Swiss scientists who published the case today in the peer-reviewed journal Nature say they're planning future studies involving people with paralyzed arms and hands and even stroke victims. Tom?
So again, when you hear a story like this, and people hear me, they're like, can you believe this guy? He's saying that this is a bad thing. This poor guy is paralyzed, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Look, for all we know, the guy might not even be paralyzed, but let's just say hypothetically he is. Obviously, it's very nice. You know, I'm not against a guy who's paralyzed ever walking again. But I am against this type of technology. Now, you can look at this however you want. The guy had a cycling accident. The point isn't about the story of the guy. The point isn't about, oh, you're against a poor guy who couldn't walk and now he can walk. But the zombies out there, that's what they would take from what I'm saying, instead of taking what I'm really trying to say, and that is the technology and the ability to control the mind, right? People are like, you can't control someone's mind. Oh, yeah? Well, they flat out are telling you in this story that they have the ability to control a mind via implant. So in other words, they can send his brainwaves, they can send instructions to his spine to move the right muscles. And they're like, that's great. Oh yeah, well, why don't they start using that technology against people? Oh, they would never do that. Not the same government who's taking away all rights of its citizens. Not the same governments around the world, like China, for example, that's locking citizens up inside of their apartments and having armed guards there because they're afraid they might catch the common cough. And then the building catches on fire and people die and nobody's held accountable for it. Not these governments around the world. These are wonderful people. So let's look at the story. A man who was paralyzed in a cycling accident in 2011 has been able to stand and walk with an aid after doctors implanted a device that reads his brain waves and sends instructions to his spine to move the right muscles. The man was told he would never walk again after breaking his neck in a traffic accident in China, but has climbed stairs and walked for more than 100 meters at a time since having the operation. A few months ago, I was able to, for the first time after 10 years, to stand up and have a beer with my friends. That was pretty cool. I want to use it in my daily life. The digital, and again, they play the sympathy off of people. Oh my goodness, he couldn't walk, his life was over. And then he was able to stand up and have a beer with his friends. And everybody smiles and they say, oh great, but they don't think about the dangers and the repercussions of this technology because they think that Big Brother is their friend, and they don't realize that this is how they begin desensitizing people so that everybody has this type of technology inside their body. People are just like, oh, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist. This is just for people, for neuroscientists to use. It's a digital bridge. It's a way for people who are ill to not be ill anymore. You're a horrible person. Oh, right. And then 5 years from now, when healthy people are having it in their body, they'll still say, oh, shut up. You're a conspiracy theorist. Let the healthy person have it. It's his body, his choice, even though it was never our body, our choice when we didn't want to put poison in it. But anyway, it's another story for another day. They'll just keep desensitizing people. Nobody will ever look back and be like, oh, that guy said that. He was right. Right? Just like even before the outbreak, how I said it for years that what was coming, and it came. They'll still never look at it and be like, oh, no, because now they'll look at it and they'll just go, it's just for these people who can't walk. It's just for paralyzed people. It's for neuroscientists to use. And then when it's like, sold by Apple or whatever, however they do it, because they'll be able to do it without actually giving you surgery. They'll just be able to literally, put it in your body really, really, really quick. Even if you remember the videos I did on Elon Musk when he was talking about the Neuralink, they were like, oh, people aren't going to get an implant and have surgery on their brains. And he was like, oh, no. You don't need to have the actual surgery on your brain. This is Elon Musk said, and I don't have the clip on me now because the clip is, I'd have to go search for it because most of my videos, all of them actually have been terminated, thousands of them. But the guy was like, no one's ever going to take the implant and go get brain surgery. And he said, oh, you won't have to. You'll be able to just use this little thing with a needle on it and put it right into you. Huh? Yeah, you see how all this stuff works? And lo and behold, we're currently going through the first trial run of Neuralink, but that'll be a separate video. So again, desensitize people. And then suddenly it's like, well, this type of technology makes you a better person. Oh, did you know that this brain development technology can make people less hateful? Did you know this type of brain technology can make people more tolerant of other people? There'll be less violence, there'll be less crime, etc., etc. All they need to do is market it to people. Meanwhile, they don't go, well, if somebody can access my brain and send brain waves, from my brain and control my movements, etc., etc. Oh, come on. That's crazy to think that anybody would actually do that to an entire race of human beings, because we've never seen governments before want to control its people. It's only happened since the beginning of governments and the existence of governments, but especially right now when we see them literally trying to control speech, and as Larry Fink said, control behavior, but they would never do that. We can trust them. Who would be the people actually pulling the string? Oh, stop it. Stop it. So in a previous trial, the man tested a system that recreated the rhythmic steps of walking by sending signals from a computer to his spinal cord. So again, from a computer. an outside source, outside of his body, to his spinal cord. Hello? Hi. Oh, I wonder what could actually send signal. Oh, right. Aren't there a lot of towers around us like that can send signals? Remember the video I did on Westworld? Right? Very similar, right? We've all been talking about it for a while. So, you know, what they're like, oh, a computer? Like what? Someone's laptop? Oh, what are these quantum computer things? What are these towers that send out waves and signals? Oh, right. What are they all there for? They're there, Mr. Call for Judgment. They're there because everybody wants to be able to download the latest Puff Daddy song faster. Oh, right. Sorry. I couldn't, all this money that went into it, all the thousands, I mean, millions and billions of these things that are out there. Right. It's so we could download faster. Wink, wink. Get a clue. They say for the latest let me go back to the sending the signals from a computer to a spinal cord. While the device helped him take several steps at once, the movement was quite robotic and had to be triggered by a button or sensor. Well, of course it's robotic at first, but it's well past advanced on that. They don't want you to, they're not going to come out and automatically show you the guy walking and running and sprinting. Baby steps, desensitize, prepare people. That's how mind control works. That's how they get everybody on board with everything. So they say what we've been able to do is reestablish communication between the brain and the region of the spinal cord that controls leg movement with a digital bridge, said Professor Georgine Courtine at the Swiss Federal Institute of Tech. He said the system could capture the thoughts of the man and translate those thoughts into stimulation of the spinal cord to reestablish voluntary leg movements. So should I re-say that? Capture the thoughts of the man. So his thoughts are being read onto a computer, which is, again, that's something we need, right? Our thoughts being read onto a computer. God forbid, free crime, anyone? Have one bad thought fly through your mind, like, hey, I want to punch this guy in the face. Oh, where? The police search your door. Oh, you're questioning Big Brother controlling your thermostat? Where? Please search your door. Oh my goodness, you don't believe that certain people who tuck should be allowed to come into your home and hang out with your kids? Where? Oh, we're at your front door. Right? So they're even telling you here that they flat out can read your thoughts, which I've covered many times over, but still. In the article, I mean, when somebody hears this, their response will just be this, the zombie out there. That is so great. He can walk again. What a miracle. Not, wait a minute. Let's rewind here. A computer is talking to his brain, which is talking to his spinal cord. The computer is reading his thoughts on whatever he's thinking. If he's thinking, I want to go over there and grab a beer. Oh, the computer can read that. And then the computer will send those motions to his body so he can go do it. Right. No, they don't think that. They don't think that. They don't know anything about quantum computers. They don't know anything about the towers, the 5G towers, and the eventual 6G towers, which are right around the corner. Nope. Nobody's concerned. Just us, but we're all tinfoil hat wearers because we're not smiling about the story. I'm not here gushing over the story, so I'm a horrible, hateful person who should be locked up. Unbelievable. The device does not produce swift, smooth strides, they said. Yeah, again, not yet. And they say, described in nature allowed for more natural movements than before because standing up and walking were initiated and controlled by thinking about the actions. The signals stimulate muscles needed to flex the hip, knee, and ankle. And again, technology, I've covered this, technology, I'll continue to cover it. They say the device also appears to boost rehabilitation. After more than 40 training sessions with the implant, the man who did not sever all the nerves in his spine regained some control over his legs even when the device was turned off. The doctors believe that reconnecting the brain and spine helps to regenerate spinal nerves, recovering some of the patient's lost control. While the work is at an early stage, the researchers hope that future miniaturized devices will help stroke patients and paralyzed people to walk. Yeah, miniaturized, in other words, because people are just like, oh, an implant, like it's a big chip. Oh, no, it's going to be something that you can actually shoot into someone's body. Okay? And we know what's currently just happened. Excuse me, what currently just happened? I forget. Totally forget. Anyway, miniature devices, nano, will help stroke patients and paralyzed people to walk, move their arms and hands and control their functions such as the bladder, which is often affected by spinal cord injuries. Oh, just what we need, right? The bladder. Did anybody out there laughing? The bladder? Huh? Can you imagine? Yeah, get this in your body. You're walking down the street. You're somebody who is having thoughts about, I don't know if I like this government. Oh, I just crapped and peed myself. Oops, how did that happen? I didn't even know I had to go. Oh, right, I have the brain thing, right? That's going to control my body and my movements, can make me crap my pants. That's just what we need, right? Unbelievable. But the youth out there, they'll be like, yeah, this is really cool tech. So with the man showing progress, more than a decade after his accident, the team is confident that other patients with more recent injuries could fare better. The man's with him, it's more than 10 years after the spinal cord injury. Imagine what we apply the digital bridge a few weeks after spinal cord injury. The potential for recovery is tremendous. Whatever, that wasn't even a real sentence, but whatever. Point being, this stuff is going to continue to get normalized. This is stuff they don't want you to think about. They want you to just hear this and think that it's great. That's one of the reasons I constantly get censored too, is pointing things out. The real messaging inside the messaging. 99, use this story as an example and just show somebody. All right, here's a little science project for anybody out there. If you have somebody who's not awake yet, or maybe even someone who's not awake, show them this story. Just send them the article, or just be like, hey, mom, dad, uncle, girlfriend, boyfriend. Their reaction to the story is going to be, that is really incredible. That's amazing technology. They won't even realize that there's technology that can read your thoughts, that a computer is going to be able to control and send messages to your body. None of it. It'll go right over their head. So do that as a little science experiment and write in the comments section what happens, if anyone's still listening at this point. I'm curious. It's a great test. And then you could tell them and say, oh yeah? Yeah, it's really nice that the guy can walk again. But what happens when untrusted people, like all these tech companies that nobody trusts, the government that nobody trusts, the CIA, the FBI that nobody trusts, when they have the ability to do this to people because these people have this technology in their body, and they're like, oh, well, that'll just be paralyzed people. Oh, yeah? Yeah. A year from now, you'll hear the same type of technology and about how you could live longer, how you could have more energy, how it could fight depression, how it could fight sore muscles, how it could fight hatred, right? Oh, with this technology, nobody will be hateful anymore, right? And they'll probably, if you tell them that, they'll probably just go, oh, you're just being crazy. You're thinking too deep into it. Yeah. And then when that technology comes and they start marketing it that way, you go back to them and you say, hey, look, I told you this. They go, oh, whatever. What? Because they don't go back and they don't go, oh yeah, you were right. This is dangerous now. Nope. They just continue to go along. They continue to walk into walls. They continue to be on autopilot, and society continues to go down the rabbit hole to hell. I thank everybody for being here. Hope you're doing well. God bless you and your families.